Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Charlotte, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I did say in my last video that I was going to try and keep my videos slightly more consistent. I mean, I know there's still been a little bit of a break in between videos, but I am back today with another video. Today's video is going to be a long-awaited video all about buying your first property, being a first-time buyer. I'm going to show you right at the end, to keep you waiting, the before and after of the property that we've bought, and also throw in a little Q&A in there as well. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, give it a like, leave me a comment if you want any more sort of renovation or home related videos. Like this has been well overdue. So yes, if you'd like to see more home content or more things surrounding being a first time buyer, anything like that, drop it in the comments down below. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I asked over on my Instagrams, on my home, I have a home one and then like just my personal Instagram, if anybody had any questions about being a first time buyer or just home renovations in general, and a few questions come in. So if you did ask me a question, thank you so much for sending them in. Before I get into the questions, I thought I'd do a really small backstory. I didn't want to talk too much because I don't know what the questions are or whether some people have asked some things that I may be covering now. But just a small backstory is myself and my fiance Lewis bought this property back in, well, I guess we had our offer accepted in March 2022. So it's been over a year since we've had our offer accepted. We didn't actually move into the property until October 22. That was due to a lot of back and forth, waiting for the survey to be completed, waiting for the owners of this house, the previous owners, to find a new place. A few things went wrong, as they do. So yes, though it was quite a few months, it felt like forever, of the whole, from the start to end. It was from the start was March 22 and the move-in date was October 22. So yes, a decent amount of time, but we finally got there, we finally moved in. So yes, we started looking though for, well, this wasn't the first property that we put our offer in. We put our offer in on 2 of the properties, one of which got accepted. So we've kind of been looking at homes since November 21. We put our first offer in on a bungalow in November 21, and then kind of from starting to look to end date moving and getting the house, it was like almost a year, I guess, because we moved in October. So yes, almost a year from the kind of let's start looking and putting offers in to actually finding a house and moving in and whatever. So yes, this wasn't the first property that we put our offer in. Like, so we had it accepted on one property which fell through, and we put our offer in on another property which just wasn't accepted. So yes, this wasn't the first one. We weren't as lucky just to go in straight away and get offer accepted and that was like a done deal. So yeah, we were looking at a couple of different areas. We weren't specifically set on the area that we're in at the moment. We were just kind of open, looking at surrounding areas. And the way that this property kind of, we found out about it is it actually never went on Rightmove. It never actually officially went on the market. So before we get into any questions, I would definitely give one piece of advice is if you're looking specifically in one area or a couple of areas, the estate agents normally have like a Facebook page, and then what they might do, which they did for the local estate agents in the village that we're in, is they did like a love it before you list it of properties. So the kind of let local people know that there's a property about to come onto the market and give a brief description. And so if you're interested, you kind of hear about it there first before it actually goes onto the market and other people can have a look and see. And that was the case for this property. So we were on the Facebook page and the local estate agents put on love it before you list it, a 4-bed detached properties become available in the village, listed the qualities of what the house has got, but no pictures. So we already live in this village, so we knew the road, we had an idea of the sort of houses that were on this road. So we seen that on Facebook. We messaged, I think, via Facebook, like the estate agents, and said would love to have a viewing, and I think we had a viewing like the next day. So this was March 22. So we viewed the property. This was like around, I want to say it was around the 22nd of March. It was around Lewis's birthday, so it was around that date. Ignore the nails. So yes, we viewed the property. We put our offer in like the same day that we viewed it. We didn't put the offer in straight away because it was actually the homeowner showing us around. It wasn't the estate agents. So yeah, we put the offer in literally like as soon as we got back. We're like, yeah, we love it. We put the offer in, and I think it was accepted a few days later. So that's sort of a really, really brief, quick overview of how we sort of came about looking, how many properties we looked at, the kind of time scale of how it all happened, and where we're up to now. So we've been living in our house since October 22, so it's November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months. 6 months this month. We moved in. Actually, it may even be like around now. So we've been living here for 6 months. I feel like now is the right time to sort of do a little Q&A about how the process has been, and like I say, update you on a little before and after. It's not really an after, because I think those of you that are first time buyers, or if you're looking to buy a property, then you will come to realise there's never really an after or a done or end point with houses. You keep on modernising them as you're living there. Your taste changes, and there's bigger projects. So you'll see that as I go through the questions and at the home tour at the end. So that's a small, big waffle of kind of the process up until like now. So I'm going to jump into the questions. Anything that I don't answer or that you want to know, just leave me a comment, but hopefully I cover everything in this video. So first question. So the first question that I got was, what has been the most expensive part of Reno and any unexpected costs? The most expensive part of the renovation process has probably just been, I mean, paint is expensive. We've painted the entire house from like top to bottom. The whole house has been painted. We were lucky that we were living with Lewis's parents, so when we actually got the keys, we got the keys in August 22. So there was a break between getting the keys in August and moving in October. We kind of spent that time, and it was like sort of mid to end August when we got the keys. So it was summer, end of summer. We had all the windows open, so we were painting all the house. So I guess paint was probably the most, not the most unexpected cost, because we knew we were going to spend a lot of money on paint, but probably the most expensive part of the whole renovation. Not the most expensive, because we're going to do more things as time goes on. But yeah, just the materials. So paint was expensive. Well, B&Q was like our second home. Interestingly enough, we hardly went to IKEA, which I actually thought we would be living in IKEA, and we really didn't. B&Q is definitely the place that we went to the most. So the paint, just like materials, so like polyfiller, what else, glossing was the bane of my life. Not that I actually did that much, but it was just, I never want to gloss anything ever again. And carpets were expensive as well. So yes, we've had all of the walls painted. We have new carpets throughout the whole house, upstairs and downstairs, the same carpet throughout. So that's probably why also it took a little bit of time from getting the keys and moving in, because we wanted to do things in an order that made sense. So we didn't want to start putting the carpets down until all the walls were painted, because what's the point of putting fresh carpet down if paint's going to drip on it? So we painted and washed all the walls down and everything like that first. We took all the doors off because we were going to get new doors everywhere. I guess that was another expensive cost to be honest, the whole thing is quite pricey. So to name like the most expensive thing, I've probably missed something quite major. But the first thing that strikes me was probably the first thing that we did was paint, was the first sort of expense. So yes, we painted all the walls first. We took all the doors off because we were going to get new doors. So once we painted and glossed, we then had new carpet throughout everywhere. And then last thing is with the doors, which luckily my brother is the carpenter, so he did the doors for us. Any unexpected costs? I guess it's just that all the little things that you kind of don't think of straight away, or you need more of as you're doing it. So like running out of paint, it's like unexpected things that when you're looking around a house, you probably look around. I mean, I actually tried to stretch it out. We looked around this house twice. First time when we were actually looking before we put an offer in, and we probably spent like 10 minutes in the house. So you don't see everything. Also, you've got other people's furniture in there as well. So there's a lot of stuff that can be hidden, that once they move out and it's a blank, like empty house, you start to see things that you didn't see when you first looked around. So yeah, there are unexpected costs, but there was nothing major. Luckily, there was nothing major for us that was a huge unexpected cost. But yeah, we did also have a look around second time in between sort of the March and the August of putting the offer in, accepted and moving in. We looked around again. I don't actually know when, maybe June. I could be making that up. But yeah, I wanted to have another look around the house, but at this time our offer had been accepted. So our estate agents were really flexible. It might have also been because the owner of the estate agents, it was her sister's house that we were buying. So I guess because it was family, like they were potentially more flexible, and also it was so much quicker to liaise between the agent and stuff, because it was literally like her sister's house that was being sold and that we were buying. So they knew a lot more about the house than what they would just a normal house sale. So yeah, that's what I would say the most expensive costs were, and like unexpected costs. The next question is, did you do any mood boards or Pinterest pins for each room? Yes, I did. It felt like it took ages, the whole process of waiting to get the keys. Even just waiting to the point where we got a end date just felt like forever. The surveys to get everything done on the house, again, felt like it took ages. The whole process for me just felt like it took forever, because we were really, really ready for the next step, and I was just so excited to get in. And I knew there was a lot of work that we wanted to do, so I just wanted to get it done. So yes, we did go through and I did Pinterest and mood boards and all that sort of thing. Interestingly, we actually did a whole different colour scheme to the house than what we thought we were going to do. I feel like I may have talked about this in a different video, but the colour scheme that we were going to do for the house is, we got some swatches, went to B&Q again, got like the Dulux like paint swatcher things, and we were pretty certain on the colour scheme of the house up until maybe a month before we moved in, and then we just had a complete change of heart, changed everything. I do actually have those swatches, so I'm going to go and get those now just so I can show you what we were going to go for the colour scheme of the house. Okay, so the colour scheme that we was going to go for the house, and kind of was stuck at for a long time, was something like this, which is very cool toned, quite dark. So we were thinking of, this is a navy, and this is called Sapphire Salute. These are all Dulux colours, so if you like any of the colours, then I will read them out to you. But yes, this was going to actually be the Sapphire Salute, was going to be the colour of our bedroom, which is the room that I'm in now. So as you can see, we clearly did not go for that colour. But that should have been Sapphire Salute behind me. I wanted a navy bedroom, dark bedroom. And we're also going to do the downstairs toilet, a feature wall again, of this colour. So that was going to be the master bedroom. We have 4 bedrooms, I think I mentioned that. This is a 4-bedroomed house. we were going to do we call it the nursery because there's no other use for it at the moment, and that's what it will eventually be when we have kids. So the nursery room was going to be, which is not too dissimilar to the colour that we went for, but we're going to go for this colour, which is willow tree. So this was going to be the colour of the nursery room. Then sort of for the rest of the house, I mean, you can see that we've got lots of other samples here. I tried to keep a white one just because I knew we were going to have like white ceilings, white skirting boards. So I was like, I just want to see how the colours looked with white. Then for the rest of the house, we were kind of thinking maybe, I think we're leaning more towards, I think it was warm pewter, which is this one, so a grey basically. We're going to do this for literally the whole rest of the house. Either one of those, I can't remember. So that's warm pewter and that one is chic shadow. So essentially this was going to be the colour scheme of the house. Then, so all the Pinterest boards were like navy bedrooms, like gold sort of accessories, that type of theme. And then Pinterest was really the place where I was going through all the time, just looking for inspiration for everything and anything, because I was just so excited. And then I think it may have been Lewis that actually seen a whole house in this sort of like creamy greyish colour. Then I started to Pinterest the colour greyish, which is a bay greyish, greyish. So then I was looking at greyish, and a lot of people did the whole house in this sort of greyish colour, and I loved the concept of the greyish with the pop of the white and the skirting and the ceiling. I thought it looked nice and warm, looked very neutral, quite modern, but not anything that wasn't kind of going to go out of fashion anytime soon. I completely did like a 180. I did not want a grey house anymore. I have a lot of grey in my house, but it's not a grey house. I was like, I actually don't think I want this anymore. So then we kind of had a look at doing a different colour scheme. So this is actually the colour scheme. Ignore the bottom one, we haven't got this colour anywhere in the house. And ignore this top one. So these three here are the colour scheme that we've gone for in the house. So if I start with the one that you can see behind me, again, all of these are Dulux colours. So the main feature wall for our master bedroom, which you can see behind me, is this one here, which is like a dusty pink, and it's called Pressed Petal. So Pressed Petal was the colour that we went for our master bedroom. As you can see, it's behind me. And for the nursery room, we went for Tranquil Dawn. So that's this one. As you can see, in comparison to the original colour scheme, we were going to go for Willow Tree, which is more of like a brighter sort of green, sage green. And then we saw this one, which was more muted, which I thought in comparison, like this colour and both like dusty muted colours. And I think they look really nice together. I mean, those two bedrooms are like next door to each other. So yeah, that's the colour that we went for in the nursery. And the one in the middle is called Egyptian Cotton. Egyptian Cotton is the colour that we've got in the whole rest of the house. I forgot to mention Tranquil Dawn we've got on the feature wall in the downstairs toilet. But Tranquil Dawn is the colour that I've got on the rest of the walls in this bedroom and all over the rest of the house, in the living room, everywhere. And I love this colour. I'm so glad we changed our minds. And then we went with like this and the pops of black kind of everywhere. So like more neutral oak furniture and then pops of black. So we've got black curtain rails, black lamps, picture frames, we've got black frames. So if that's sort of the theme of the rest of the house. And that's that one there, Egyptian Cotton. So that's the long-winded answer of yes, we did do Pinterests, mood boards, but I also think it's a good thing to say to keep an open mind, because we completely changed the whole colour scheme of our whole house 1 month before we moved in. Luckily we didn't buy any paint at that point. I was desperate to buy paint, just so it felt like we'd started the process of getting things for the house. But I'm very glad that we didn't do that, because yeah, we completely changed our mind. And just a quick word of advice. The Tranquil Dawn, we went for the paint, it was the Tough Care one, which basically means if you get any scratches on the wall or anything like that, if you get like a wet cloth and wipe it, it's going to wipe off and not take any of the paint off, which has been a lifesaver, because the amount of times I've scuffed the walls with furniture or the washing basket or taken the dog up and down the stairs. Yes, Tough Care, and also having Tough Care paint and having that around the whole house has just meant that basically if we get scuffs on the walls, it just wipes off without taking the paint off, and it just makes it so much easier. So if you're thinking about doing, or if you've not even thought about the type of paint that you want for your whole house, I would definitely recommend looking into the Tough Care paint that Dulux do. Yes, it is slightly more expensive, and yes, you can just go over it if there is quite a bad scuff, but just for the sake of one little scuff and then wanting to wipe it off, I really recommend doing the Tough Care. Okay, so next question is, what was the hardest part of renovating a house? The hardest part for me was probably mentally visualising what the house was going to be like. I'm a very visual person, and sometimes I struggle to see the vision. Lewis is great at this. He can see the vision and like go into a room and it look horrendous, and he can see the vision of how it's going to be. Whereas I sometimes need a bit more help to see how things are going to work out and where the furniture is going to go and what would be the best place for things. I also struggled, like, things had to be symmetrical. Like, for example, where I am behind me, the bed's in the middle of the room. The picture, I mean, it's slightly not right in the middle, but it's above the bed, sort of in the middle, and we've got bedside tables each side with a lamp. That makes sense to me, it's symmetrical. The living room did my head in because it is a long rectangle. So trying to figure out where to put the sofa, where made sense to put the TV, did my head in, because for a while I was like, it just doesn't make sense, it's not symmetrical. So the hardest part was probably just the logistics of what do we want, where we're going to put it, how we're making the most of the space in the rooms, and trying to probably keep, not a theme, but like I say, having the the Egyptian cotton throughout the whole house kind of made sense to me, because it was like, that's the colour scheme of our house. It's like more neutral, it's not necessarily, it's not grey, it's not beige, it's a nice in between. So I think probably the hardest part was actually just more mentally thinking what's going to look good, what's going to make sense, and having consistency throughout the house. But the actual hardest part, I mean, it was very physically labour intensive in the beginning, washing all the walls down, filling in any holes with polyfiller, sanding them down, painting, repainting, just being patient, I guess, was probably one of the hardest things, is allowing time for things to just be. Just the whole process of waiting to get the keys was just antagonising. So yeah, that's probably the hardest thing. Next question was, how did you choose your colour scheme? I think I kind of answered that. We had one colour scheme which we completely changed our minds on, and Pinterest definitely was kind of the place that I kept reverting back to. I also followed a lot of home Instagram accounts just to see how people lived, and like, I like to see real versions of what a house is going to look like. Pinterest is great for a visual and an idea, but how things are going to actually work and how you're going to live day to day and it being practical is completely different. You'll see at the end when I do the like end house tour, I've got washing out, there's mugs on the side, there's ironing on the spare bed. Like, it's a realistic house tour of how we're living. I didn't do a run around and whip the hoover around or anything like that before I filmed that. It's a realistic, that's what the house looks like at the moment, so you're just gonna have to take it for what it is. But yes, I think kind of a mixture of having Pinterest and Instagram to have inspiration was what helped me choose the colour scheme. And also, I guess at the moment, having like the black accessories, like black vases, the black and white monochrome is kind of in at the moment. I don't necessarily go for that because it's a trend, but it helped because there's a lot of things in the shop. Like H&M do like amazing stuff. A lot of like clothing shop homeware, loads of inspiration. Just going around shopping, that sort of thing, gave me inspiration. But what helped us choose the colour scheme, what actually helped us was going into B&Q again, the swatches, and having a look at what it looked like this against the rest of the kind of colours that we want in the house, and thinking, does that make sense? Does it look good together? And that for me helped also with the weight of, it felt like I was doing something when actually there was still quite a long way to go with the house. Just having a visual representation, and again, like I said, I'm a very visual person, having that visual of these are the colours that I think will look good in the house, kind of like skipped a couple of steps for us. So it wasn't like we're painting textures on the wall and then dry and then having a look, because we'd already done that. We let it dry. I did it on a couple different pieces of paper, held under different lights. What's it like in natural daylight? What's it like under sort of a whitish light, a yellow light when it's dark? So that was kind of the best way, really, was to get an actual visual having to pick colour scheme, and was really fun, was just going to B&Q and getting the swatches and seeing what they look like. So if you're thinking about testing out a couple of swatches, if you've got a couple of ideas and seeing how it goes all together for sort of the rest of the house and if it flows, I definitely recommend going doing that, because one, it's good, it's practical, it saves time of getting the paint and do it on the wall, and it's fun. So the next question is, what is next on the list for the house? The next big thing, well, I say next big, not big thing, but we're actually changing our front door and our side door in like 2 weeks. So that's why I'm saying like it's not an after, because things are always going to change. So as I'm filming this, the doors haven't changed, but we are getting new doors fitted. So we're getting a new front door and a new side door. So that's like what actually is next on the list. And the next big renovation part of the house, because majority of it is done, will be the kitchen. We want a completely brand new kitchen. I have not included its spoiler in the after part of this video because the kitchen doesn't look any different. We have given it a lick of paint, but to be truthful, we don't like it. It's not what we would go for, it's not our taste, and it's been wrecked with having the dog. So actually it's the only part of a before and after, if I was to do one, that looks worse, because the dog's just gone in on the kitchen. So yes, that is what is next. The next question is, what do you find is the best part about owning your own home? I was literally having this conversation with my brother and his girlfriend yesterday. They popped over and they're in the process of looking to move out and get their first home together. And that was the best part of having your own home, is just one, the freedom. Initially, because we've always lived with parents or lived with each other's parents, it's just having the freedom of it being your home is like just like nothing else. So the best part is the freedom. And like for us, because I was living with Lewis's parents before we got this house, we were two people that were literally confined. Like all our stuff was in like 2 bedrooms, like 2 rooms. So then going from 2 people that have everything they own basically in 2 rooms to 2 people that have everything their own in a 4-bedroom house is like, whoa. Like before we had 2 rooms we could kind of go between. To be honest, they were really good. We had kind of the whole house that we could go between, but like in terms of rooms that felt like ours, I mean, it's really just a bedroom that we were sharing a wardrobe, we shared chest of drawers, and then going from that to like, I've got 4 bedrooms that are mine. I've got the whole living room's mine. The whole house is mine. Like it just was, whoa. It just didn't, for a while it felt like I was on holiday or something, like I was in like an Airbnb, because it just did not feel real that the whole thing is mine. So the best thing probably is the freedom, realisation that how proud you are, the fact that you've owned something. And then I would also say like the best part of owning your home for me is just having that security of like knowing this is mine and no one can take it away from me. I'm going to be here for at least the next 20 years. I think it's a real comfort knowing that we're going to have our children here. Like just knowing that so many memories are going to happen whilst we're here. And this is our forever home, to be honest. There's definitely room for us to have our family here, grow our family for, like I say, that at least 20 years. So yeah, I think it's just the comfort of just knowing that this is ours and we've got what feels like a lifetime of happiness here. And yeah, that's definitely the best part. Next question is, did you have a certain criteria when searching for a house on what you wanted? Yes, actually. And I would say this is something when you're looking to buy a house with a partner or with somebody else, that you need to kind of have a look at what it is that you want, specific things you want in a house individually. So there's a few things that I wanted that Lewis just like, I'm not bothered about. And again, a few things that Lewis wanted that I wasn't bothered about. And then, you know, things in the middle that we both agreed we'd wanted in a house. The main criteria for us when we're looking in a house was a sort of a three bed sort of semi-detached with definitely wanted a drive space with like a big drive, a garage, and preferably a downstairs toilet. Those were really kind of the things we were looking for. And then that was like the criteria. Then if we were to go into like ideals, ideally it would actually be detached. Ideally it would be in a cul-de-sac, at the end of a cul-de-sac, or on a road where people are only going down it because they live there. So as you're going to more nitty gritty, there were a lot of ideals. Ideally I would have liked to have an ensuite. I didn't get the ensuite, but we got a 4-bed, which is another bedroom more than what we were actually after. We wouldn't have gone for it if it wasn't within price range. This was more expensive than what we were initially going for, but it was within our, like, it was at the top end of maximum what we wanted to spend. Yes, it's got a downstairs toilet, it's got a nice driveway space, it's got a really decent garage. Garden we weren't bothered about, but we've ended up with a really lovely garden. The only thing that I'd say that I probably would have liked that we don't have is an ensuite. We have a downstairs loo, we have a nice bathroom, and that literally for now there's only the two of us and the dog living here, so it will do. It's not the end of the world. There's room if we want to extend, we can extend the house at the side. But yes, it's really important to have a criteria. Literally, if you need to make lists of things that you want, having time to look together on Rightmove to see the types of houses that you like. Do you want a new build? Do you want a character property? Do you want a renovation project? Do you want something you can move into straight away? How much work do you want to do? Like, those are the type of things that you need to look for, what you're interested in. Initially, I just wanted something I can move into straight away. Not necessarily a new build, but I wouldn't have minded like a newish building. The idea of sort of moving in straight away and doing a little bit of like maybe paint was more what I was looking for. Where Lewis kind of wanted more of a renovation project. The couple of houses that we viewed, but there's one exception which we put an offer in, but all the other houses that we looked at and the first property that we put an offer in and was accepted initially was complete renovations. Not livable really at all. So we've gone for a real variety of houses, and what we've ended up with is a nice mixture of nothing big. The only whole room transformation has been the bathroom. We've had the whole bathroom replaced, and eventually will be the kitchen. But this was more of a cosmetic renovation. So not a true knocking walls down, extending this, changing this. It's more of a cosmetic facelift. We've painted all the walls, we've put new carpet down, new doors. Like I say, apart from the bathroom, which is completely ripped out and is new, everything else has just been given a little spruce up, and that for me was a nice compromise. Like, it feels as though I've done like a little mini renovation, but without it feeling like we're not literally knocking things down and changing the whole kind of shape of what the house is looking like. So yeah, I think it's definitely important to have a criteria of what it is that's important to you and what you want, and that is something that we didn't and we discussed together. So yes, we did have a criteria. I think when towards the end of the questions now, do you think you will move in the future, or are you happy where you are? I think we will move in the future. This is a family home. This is a forever home for a long time. Do I think it's a forever? We're going to be here until we're grey and old? Potentially not. I think it's going to be too much house for us when we get older. Or we may actually want a bigger house when we have kids and they get sort of teenage years and they need more space, potentially, I don't know. In my mind at the moment, I sort of see this be a house that we're going to stay in for like 20, 25 years. I see us potentially kind of staying here up until we finish our mortgage. I believe our mortgage is 30 or 35 years. So to be honest, I kind of see us finishing our mortgage here, and maybe, I don't know whether we'll downsize or upsize. So yes, I see it being a long-term home. Do I think we're going to be old and grey here? I mean, I'm already grey. Do I think we're going to be super old here? I don't know. But yes, we'll be here for a considerable amount of time. Next question is, how old were you when you bought your home? I was 24 and Lewis was 26. So yeah, 24 and 26 is how old we were when we bought the house. The second to last question is favourite room in the house. This always changes. When I was doing sort of the renovations of each room and I was updating on my home Instagram, my preference changed based on which room we'd just done, because I love the before and after. So if I had to just give one room, which is my favourite aesthetically, is probably this room, the bedroom. I love the pink, I love the black, I love the grey. I just love the whole feel of this room. If I was to choose my favourite room that I feel like probably looks the most different, I mean, obviously take the bathroom out of the situation, but the room that has the most difference in contrast, I'd say, would be the office, because that was a bedroom before and now it's our office. That is just a completely different room. I think it looks so much bigger now, and you'll see that in the before and after. I think that it just looks so much bigger. And the coziest room I'd say is the living room. I think I've listed basically every room. But yeah, in one sort of word or one room would be this room is my favourite for now. And the last question, which I've kind of already answered, is future reno plans. Future big renovation is the kitchen. We want a whole new kitchen, rip it all out, replaster everything. That I cannot wait for. That will definitely be my favourite room in the house once that's done. It's such a lovely space. It's a really decent sized kitchen, so once it is done it will be beautiful and it has so much potential. So the kitchen is probably the biggest reno, and then we want to tidy the garden up. So the garden was something we'll do this summer definitely. Again, lovely garden space. There's lots of potential out there as well. So yeah, it'll be the kitchen and the garden are the next kind of like the last parts of the renovation, but I definitely don't think we're going to be stopping there. Like, I reckon as the years go on, our taste change, will be probably changing every room again. So that's kind of all the questions that I've been asked. So again, thank you so much if you asked any questions. I really appreciate it. If you wanted to know more specifically about the buying process, what that involves, any tips, what we went through, what you should know, then I can do a separate kind of video all about that. Or if you have any specific questions, leave those down below. But that is everything in terms of the question answer and a sort of brief overview of the process of being first time buyers, how it feels, what we do, what we're planning on doing. So the last part of this video, which if you've skipped all the way to the end just to see this, I honestly don't blame you, is the before and after. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big like. Any questions, leave those in the comment section down below, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.